Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the video for Tower of Fantasy. My name is Ventus. What's good? Alright, guys, in this video, I'm going to show you my budget fire tank build. I've been working with this thing all day, fine-tuning it and getting it to work and do exactly what I wanted to do. And this is it. This is the build. It does exactly what I wanted to do, what I needed to do. And if you're working on a budget, this is the fire tank build for you. Now, when I say budget, I mean as far as weapons with very little or to no constellations and weapon chips that aren't like the best weapon chips, but weapon chips that realistically any player should be able to get their hands on to make this build work. Now, really quickly, before I get into the build, do me a favor and sub to the channel with notifications on if you haven't already for more Tower of Fantasy guide videos and live streams and just gameplay. And after this video is over, if you found it helpful, please head over to my channel and check out my playlist for Tower of Fantasy. And also, let's try to get this video to like 30 likes. 30 likes will tell the tale if you like the video. And if you have any suggestions, thoughts, comments, or even questions about this build or anything else Tower of Fantasy related, be sure to drop those down in the comments and I'll be sure to try to answer those with a reply or like a whole video. Alright, so with all that being said, let's get right into this. Alright, so these are going to be the main weapons that I use for this build. We've got the Vermilion Bird, that's land. We've got the Molten Shield V2, and that's Huma. And then we've got the Negating Cube, that is going to be 0. And I'm going to get to why I chose 0 in just a minute. You can choose anything here in this extra slot, but I chose 0 for a specific reason. Alright, so the reason why I went with land and I went with Molten Shield V2 is simple, and that's because they are the only fire defense weapons in the game at present, at least to my knowledge. I don't think there's any more defense weapons that are fire. These are the only two, and they actually work really well together. I was able to keep the boss's attention. Alright, so if you didn't know, having 2 defense weapons on your loadout gives you a Fortitude Resonance bonus, and a Fortitude Resonance bonus is this. It's super helpful for a tank. It says, equip at least 2 defense type weapons to activate, increase damage reduction by 25%, shatter by 60%, which is huge, and aggro by 800%. Aggro is getting the boss's attention and making him focus on you and only you, so he doesn't attack your DPS and your healers because they are like paper. Applying your current weapon's element weak point to the target. In team play, get an additional 20% damage reduction, so that is huge. It is like paramount for being able to stay alive and giving your healers an easier time of keeping you alive. So, looking at land, I read all of her stuff. She's got a shatter at 14. That is amazing. She's got a better shatter than Molten Shield V2. So this is going to be your weapon that you shatter your target shield with. Whenever you see that target shields go back up, you're fighting a boss or something like that, and you see that shield pop up around him, switch to land and break those shields. Now, I read through everything that land does. She's got a lot of really cool effects. But the thing about land is she breaks shields and she is like a damage character. For all intents and purposes, that's what I read. And I might be kind of faded on this, but I read through everything. And it looks like she's just kind of focused on dealing damage while being a defense character. So she's kind of like a hybrid almost in that way. At least that's what I read. Alright, now the real thing of this build is going to be the Molten Shield V2. The Molten Shield V2 has a lot of defensive capabilities. I've got Molten Shield V2 at C1. And it's going to say, it says, activated, gain a stack of strong shield upon using discharge, seething rage. Using a dodge skill or branch skill while in shield form grants a stack of strong shield, which grants 10% damage reduction for 15 seconds and stacks up to 3 times. Switching to axe form converts all strong shield attacks to sharp axe attacks, each of which increase damage by 15% for 15 seconds. Switching to a different weapon cancels this effect. So that's 1 star of Molten Shield V2, and that's huge. Now, the whole thing of it is, I'm not trying to deal damage while I'm in tank. I'm trying to leave the damage to the DPS. I am simply trying to get the boss's attention, keep the boss's attention, let him attack me, and absorb his damage and not die. And that Huma, this shield is great for. Let's look at the skill. There's one skill in particular that I want to tell you about. It's one of the attacks. It's called Anticipation. While you're in shield form, that's when the weapon looks like a shield and not an axe. While on the ground, tap and hold normal attack to enter shield form. Release to exit for 3 seconds, during which the Wanderer is unable to move and all damage taken is reduced by 50%. Listen, that is huge. When those bosses deal those one-shot attacks or those super powerful attacks, whatever the case might be, you're taking half that damage while you're in this shield form. While in shield form, releasing the normal attack button after taking damage or after holding the button for 3 seconds unleashes Fire Crash, dealing damage equal to 167.3% of attack plus 369 and inflicting a 1-second stun effect on the target. Then you go to Axe Form, smash the target, dealing damage equal to 122.2% of attack plus 269 and suspending the target. I don't really use the shield form that much, or the Axe Form that much, because if I'm going to break shields, and that's what the Axe Form is pretty much for, is to break shields. I mean, it's pretty good at breaking shields. It's got like a little Beyblade sort of attack that you can do. It's really good to do. It's got a really cool dodge skill. I think the dodge skill, this is really good. But for the most part, when I'm using this build as a tank, I am trying to absorb damage and keep the boss's attention, not DPS. Leave that to the DPS. Now, the other part of this build is negating Cube 0. Alright, so listen. Negating Cube 0 has a really, really cool skill. And if you don't know what it is, it's this. Omnium Shield. Create shielding for self and nearby allies to block up to 800% of attack and damage for 10 seconds. Deal 142.9% of attack plus 315 damage to nearby targets and strongly launch them. Each cube in possession when this skill is used adds 160% of attack to max shielding and exhaust the cube. Cooldown 60 seconds. So when you're using this negating cube, you want to have that negating cube out as much as possible. Attack, attack, attack. And while you're attacking, because I have my 0 at a couple of different stars, we'll show you what the stars is. At first star, this is what it does. Activated, it says deal damage and produce a healing orb, which lasts for 20 seconds and restores the HP of any teammate who picks it up. Period. That's it. That is the reason why you have 0 at 1 star and you have him on a tank, because you're right up in there, you're right next to the boss, or you're kind of away from the boss, and you're attacking this boss with 0's attacks, with the negating cube's attacks, and those healing orbs pop out. They're not exactly the best healer in the world, but if you have at least one dedicated healer healing everybody, these healing orbs are going to be a huge help, especially for the tank, who is going to be in the boss's face at all times. You get those healing orbs and you just help your healer to keep you alive. It continues to say the HP restored is equal to 60% of attack, 2-second cooldown. I've got increased the current weapon's base attack growth by 60%. I've also got this one, the 3rd star, reduce skill cooldown from 60 seconds to 30 seconds. Restore HP equal to 30% of attack every second while the shield is active. That is huge. And then I've got one more star of him activated. Increase the current weapon's base HP growth by 32%. So those other 2 stars, I can't wait to get those, because 0 is actually a super, super good character to use. Now, when it comes to weapon chips, let's show you what I got over here. And this is what makes the build a budget build. Other than the fact that I've only got, you know, this land weapon at no constellations, Huma at 1 star. I'm pretty sure by now most people will have Molten Shield V2, at least the weapon, and if not, you'll have it at like 2 stars. Down in the comments, let me know how many stars you have of Molten Shield V2. I'm interested to know like the statistics on this. Okay, so starting with the matrices over on Negating Cube, I've got 3 Pepper. And this is the SR chipset of Pepper. It says increase speed of attaining weapon charge by 10% or 12.5% or 15%. I have a bunch of these Pepper chips, and as an advice to you, if you have a lot of weapons, of course you can go ahead and use a star and develop them and advance them if you want to, if you have a bunch of copies, because the game is really good about giving you copies of these Pepper chipsets. But I don't know, for me, I like to have the Pepper chipset on multiple weapons, so at least one weapon in every like loadout build that I run has a Pepper chipset, because increased speed of attaining weapon charge is huge, because those weapon charges, discharge skills, those are just, they're game changing. Over on the Molten Shield V2 Huma, I've got the 3-piece chipset of Barbarossa. It says upon switching to the weapon, gain 50% damage reflection for 3 seconds. Cooldown 30 seconds. Upon switching to another weapon, gain a 20% damage boost for 5 seconds. Cooldown 30 seconds. So I basically put this on there for the damage reflection. I know that whenever I switch to Huma Molten Shield V2, I'm going to get damage reflection for 3 seconds. So whatever the boss is doing, he's about to like mount some sort of special powerful attack, I can switch to Huma, and Huma's already like the shield weapon anyway. I can go to defensive posture. I'm going to be super protected whenever I switch to Huma. So that's going to be the Barbarossa chipset. I definitely suggest if you want to go tanking, you have one weapon that has this chipset on it. And then finally on land, I've got the Robarg chipset, and this says when a target is shattered, poison the target and deal damage equal to 45% of attack every second for 10 seconds. So this sort of makes sense to have it on land, because land is a defense character that has really good shatter and she has really good damage at the same time. this helps her to do more damage whenever she shatters a target. So the Robar chipset is a really, really good SR chipset for you to use, especially when you're on a budget build for a tank. All right, and then this, really quickly, I'll just add this. The smart servant that I'm using is going to be Flame Sparrow. Flame Sparrow is a fire servant, so he's going to do fire attacks when he's with you. And I also have him equipped with this module. It's called Fortify 1. When the smart servant's master gains a shield, that's me, and whenever I do get a shield, increase damage reduction by a further 8%. So that's a really good module to have if you plan to go a tank in. And so we get the 0 ult, give everybody another shield. Well, whoever was in range, I was only, yeah, everybody, well, 2 people got a shield. I'm looking at their health bars right now. It looks like I still got the boss's attention, which is great. Huma is really good for getting the boss's attention. She's got, look at that, didn't take any damage from that because I was in that defensive posture. I think I had a little bit of hyper armor right there. Okay, so it looks like this is ready to go. Another discharge skills. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit 0. We've got 6 seconds before I can give people shields, so I'm just going to go ahead and switch to lane because his shield came back up, and I'm going to break those shields down really, really quickly. Look how fast his shield is just breaking down. Alright, so shield is gone on him. Alright, fantastic. Let me see if I can hit a combo with land. Just burn him with fire, and then I guess we can go ahead and throw shields back on everybody else. I'm looking at Bakunda's health up there in the top right. His health is... He didn't get the shield. I don't know why. Oh, he got the shield. It's Osama who didn't get the shield. Alright, so let me go back to my shield, and then go into the defensive posture again. Absorb those hits. Yep. And then boom. No, I didn't go boom this time. I'll try it this time. Okay, I got knocked out of my defensive posture. I didn't know who could do that. I think I got a few seconds on 0 shielding again, so I'm just going to go ahead and wait to sit here and just give him a couple of dodge skill attacks with Huma's shield. Okay, cool. And I absorbed most of that damage. He didn't really hurt me that much. Okay, so now I think, yeah, 0 is ready for the shield. And give everybody around me a shield and just absorb that damage with the shield. Nobody really did any super damage from that, and that's really, really good. Alright, and then, you know what? It's time for me to go on the offensive now. I'm going to switch Huma over to the axe form and just go ahead and do it like that. Yeah, I used my dodge skill at the right time right there and got him into Fantasia. And so now everybody can go ahead and sort of work him over. But I'm pretty sure that 0 is ready to go. Okay, we got 4 seconds on 0, so I'm just going to get some basic 0 attacks and get those healing orbs out there. Okay, then everybody that's in the range, they're going to get a shield. We're good to go, so it doesn't matter what he does because everybody is now shielded. Go back to Huma and the axe. And then let's go ahead and Beyblade, spin the wind. I think I got, yeah, the ult is ready. Another, yeah, that perfectly timed Fantasia dodge. I got that off so everybody can get those free attacks on him. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit the Phoenix with land and give him not too good a damage, but I did that right on time because his shield is back up, and I'm just going to go ahead and use land's abilities to break that shield so we can kill him faster. Alright, and this is a wrap ski. Alright, let's go. And he is trying to spin the wind, but it's not going to work. Alright. And there it is, right there. That was super easy. We did that with only, what, 5 people? 1 healer, 1 balance, 2 DPS, and 1 tank.